You would think that I would work on preparing these a little better, right? You would think so, right? I have 5 advanced degrees, and this is not about education or anything like that. 3 masters, an ed specialist, and a doctorate. And in that time, I had to write 2 capstones, a thesis, a mini dissertation for the EDS, and then my dissertation, to which I had to defend. I had to prepare. I had to take notes, all that. So you would think that I would have the wherewithal to do that here, and I don't. And it's just like when I think about it, because I don't. There's never any intention to post in the morning. It's just been like that for years. So I'd be like, nah, I ain't learned. He ain't learned nothing yet. All that school and preparation, I ain't learned nothing. I just had to say that out loud. So today's theme is, and this is going to be conflicting. I think that good health, is a gateway goal, and it shouldn't be that way. Your health should be universally known as something that we should do, right? We don't know how long we're gonna be here. We get the one body. We see all the horror stories. There's all the data. We know about heart disease, strokes. All that stuff falls up under heart disease, strokes, obesity. We see it. We see movies. They got documentaries. You got the my 600 pound. You see all this stuff. We know this food is getting us up out of here, but it's just tough. And if you're anything like me, I had realized that it was mental, but I had gotten to that point. Some people might be at that point because I was tired of what I was doing. I was tired of who I was. I was tired of being tired of just that life. And I did that. Now I always urge people go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. When you go to the doctor, yeah, and even though I went to the doctor and they put me on this cholesterol medication in my 20s, I was still kind of delusional. I say kind of, but it was like really delusional because I was in that mindset, man, these folks don't know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying every doctor does, man. I remember I had to go to my primary care provider, and then she ended up retiring, and they gave me like this fill-in person, and he was just talking to me, but he was bigger. And I was just like, well, that's odd to me. That's a weird line, but that's odd to me. But I knew that doctor was telling me the right thing as far as my health. I knew because I was lying. I was. They would, when you go to the doctor, they'll say, hey, how often do you drink? I'll say socially. Because that could be anything. Socially can be, once a week, maybe with friends, or have some wine. I've never been a wine drinker. I'm just saying that could be socially, or what it was every day. So I would be like socially. And then it got to the point to where before they put me on the medication, they were like monitoring my blood pressure. So they actually had me come back 3 days to check my blood pressure before they put me on this medication. But I knew what I was doing to myself. And instead of just acknowledging it, I was just like, man, they don't know what they're talking about. That's what they do. That's what they do. They tell people this stuff, man, to try to scare us. But I was tired, man. I just was tired. I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of just certain things. I was in great shape in 2004. I got fat, but then I am a command fitness leader in the Navy. So I don't know how that happened. And then I'm talking to you about being in better shape. Like I'm the person that was in the Navy. When you doing your push-ups, I'm walking. I'm keeping score. How is that even possible? I don't know. But I know that they knew what I knew, that I shouldn't have been doing that. And that's something that happens in all aspects of life. Because unfortunately, when you walk into a room or when you first meet somebody, if you're walking up to a person, you got 6 seconds for somebody to size you up. And that's life. And how you carry yourself, unfortunately, I know we don't want to hear that, is how people will determine what you will bring to that friendship, that association, that job, or whatnot. But because, it's common now to be more unhealthy than healthy, it's just weird. It is. But if you anything like me, you know you want to change. It's time because now, we start doing stuff to where we don't catch it. We don't catch it that we're doing it. I told you, when I stopped drinking, when I found out my son was coming, I went to AA meetings. Outside of going to those meetings, the only exposure to that is what I saw on movies. But I had to stop. And I wasn't thinking about it. Man, I'm going to AA meetings. I'm taking leave from work in the Navy. I didn't tell my son's mom. And I was getting dressed in uniform to leave the house and drive and get a hotel just to circulate these meetings. I knew I wanted to change. I'm reaching out to people. This was like before social media and stuff like that. But I'm reaching out to people like, hey, how'd you stop drinking? Or if I hear a story, I pull them aside like, hey, you said you stopped drinking. So if you're doing that, that's up here and that's in here, and you know you want to change. Congratulations, but you gotta follow through with that. You gotta keep asking. You gotta keep taking notes because it'll happen for you. I use the term unstuck because you get unstuck. No, there's no overnight switch you can really hit, but there's a moment to where you make a significant change because you were just tired. You were just tired. And then when you start, making those steps in the right direction, you'll know. Your sleep will be better. Your attitude will be better. You'll be more productive and a host of other things. And then you'll just start applying those things to other areas in your life. Gateway goal. Because all the distractions and the noise and the fear mongering, the people that you're around, that you're close with, that's just like, man, why are you doing that? You losing too much weight. Sometimes we just get exhausted. We don't want to fight it no more. This is how I am. This is how I was. If I'm gonna have friends, I gotta keep doing this. People tell themselves that. But like I knew, man. I knew. I was ashamed of myself because I was in great shape. Then I gained the weight. I was embarrassed. And I remember one time, right? It's always a one time. It's always a story that I got. I was about to go to Afghanistan. So it's probably like 2-3 months before I got them orders. I'm bigger. I had already made purchases of uniforms. And if you know anything about the Navy PT uniform, they got them little shorts and the shirt. But I ordered mine from the Next. So I was having like XXX, XXX in order to fit my body. That's how serious it was. But I was doing that with uniforms as well. And I had a uniform top, but my other ones were in the cleaners. And my uniform top that I had, it wasn't one of the bigger ones. It was a smaller one, but I had to go to work. You can't just miss a day in the military like that. You can't just call in sick. Maybe now, but back then you couldn't. But we had to go to this training on base at the auditorium. And it was early. It's earlier than normal. I had on this tight uniform shirt. And when you're walking up to the door of the auditorium, there's a sign, be careful. The left side of the door is broken. It's going to slam. That's what it said. It's a sign. All I'm thinking about is this tight shirt I got on. I pull the left door. I go in, kaboom, and everybody look back at me because the door slammed. I'm thinking, man, they looking at my uniform top. Man, because my belly. That's how crazy it was. It's early in the morning. They don't want to be at that training no more than I want to be at that training. And they just heard this door slam after this fool didn't even read the sign. That's when I was like, God, what am I doing? Why? Everybody got their own chaos. Are there people in this world that worry about what you're doing? Yes, you see them on here. But I'm just saying in general, everybody got their own bills, their own drama, their own stuff going on to where people ain't worrying about you. They just worrying about who slammed that door this early when there's a sign that said, hey, the door might slam. The guy with the tight shirt on with the belly hanging out, that's who. But yeah, we know, we know. I just didn't want to be that. And the crazy thing about just getting in, and I say decent, and somebody was like, man, you say decent, you're in great shape. It's subjective. Marathon runners might think that sleek marathon look is what's considered in shape. These big old Olympia bodybuilders might think it just depends, right? But when you get in decent shape, it is the best and worst feeling that there is. It is the best because you know it's a path now. And even when you get older, and I'm here telling you as for I'm not old, you know what you need to do. Lesson learned. If all else fails, you do that stuff because you've seen the results before. And if you get removed from that, like I did in 2004, it sucks because I'm doing this and I can't control it. That means I'm addicted to something. So it's the best and the worst, but it's up to you to fix it. So when you go to the hospital and you get your blood pulled, that's what I call like getting the check and they tell you nothing's wrong. It's on you, unfortunately. And that's where I was at. And then it was just like gradual change after gradual change because I do believe like good health is a gateway goal. So yeah, I'm gonna stop doing this. But I got an addictive personality, so I'm gonna start doing this. I stopped drinking. I really like dialed into my fitness and school and just preparing to get out of the military years down the line. What can I do to be more marketable out here? I'm not spending that money on that alcohol no more. I'm not wasting that time and that energy behind hangovers, which it had gotten so bad at one point in time, I wouldn't even get hangovers like that no more. It was just the mental gymnastics of, after I had drank. Can somebody smell it? Man, I ain't got as much energy. I know I ain't about to work out. So all that was done. What am I doing with that energy? What am I funneling that into? The stuff I need to do. I'm going to do that. And I got an addictive personality. And that becomes your aura, believe it or not. It does. If you walk into a room and no one knows you and you carry yourself properly, they're going to know that about you. Yes, some people will have problems with it. Some people don't want that fit energy around. I remember I had a job interview one time and the lady had asked me, give me 2 strengths, 2 weaknesses. And I actually got an offer for this because she was like, that question that you answered, I never thought about it that way. But she was like, give me 2 strengths. I said, I'm pretty ambitious and I'm disciplined or driven. It just depends on what it is. She was like, give me 2 weaknesses. I said, I'm pretty ambitious and I'm driven. And discipline, depending on what it is. She was like, well, how do those even align? I said, because if you are like ambitious and driven and you disciplined and somebody don't want that energy around and they're undisciplined, or if you walk in and you are the guy that look like you about to be quoting fitness scripture, they don't want you around. You don't fit the culture. And that's kind of plagued me a lot of the years. The unfortunate thing is I don't really care what anybody else is doing because we all got our own chaos. And I got an offer, but the pay just wasn't, the pay wasn't what I wanted it to be. Yeah, good health is a gateway and it will become your aura. And you will start taking those same things. I keep talking about the tool bag. So just, man, I can't do this. I'm scared to do this. This isn't possible. When you get the one vessel you in all the time that you can't trade in, you can't buy a new one. Yeah, you can buy parts. You see people doing that. But when you get that in check, you start doing that in other areas. Man, if I did this, I know I can do this. You start believing. I was standing watch a long time ago. This was on the Peleliu. I believe this was like during workups. Workups mean you just go in and out, in and out. You're doing your training in order to get certified in order to deploy. And I was on watch with this young lady. I was an officer of the deck. She was petty officer of the watch. And when you're on them watches, you just be talking to people. It's all type of conversations that be popping off. Drama, gossip, just in general. But by then, my aura was, man, that guy be working out. SH1 don't drink. SH1 is in school. Good aura to have for some people. Horrible aura to have for others. So what though, right? And we were talking. I knew that she had like some alcohol-related incidents. Military, in some cases, is like a high school. I knew, but it ain't my business to bring up or talk about. And I'm not somebody, even though you're supposed to put people on, help people. Some people just don't want that energy, like I mentioned about the interview, right? And, she was talking to me and she was just like, working out came up. I'm sitting there and watch, I'm ready to get off. And I'm just like, man, I'm thinking I got to go work out after this. And when you got the mid watch, which is like 10 to 2, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while. I really didn't get no sleep before that because I was in leadership. I was running my division. And working out came up. And she was like, well, even that can be an issue, an addiction, especially in excess. And I'm like, I said, yeah, you're right. You are, 100%. I said, but I would much rather be addicted to that than what I used to be addicted to, the alcohol. Yeah, I can work out. I can have physical burnout, maybe mental burnout, but I can dial it down. When I was on that alcohol, I couldn't control it. I can control the working out stuff most days. I couldn't control the alcohol. And the alcohol was killing me. So if I have to pick, it'll be the healthy stuff. I got an addictive personality, so I understand exactly what you're saying. And we were kind of quiet after the watch. I would say 2 years ago, because I think I became so insufferable on like Facebook, because that's where we were connected, because of these, the long form posts, people just get tired of it, especially like if they haven't been able to make the change, and you can. She had messaged me, she said, you know what? I just wanted to let you know I'm this many years sober. I was like, yeah, that's what's up. And I forgot about the conversation. I got a great memory. I was like, well, thank you for telling me that. She said, do you remember the conversation we had on Watch? Then I thought about it. I said, oh, yeah. The aura. But if you're anything like me, you want to change. You know that by now. It's just, what do you need to do to change? It's mental. If you went to the doctor and they said you're good in that area, it's a mental block. It's a mental block of you saying, man, this ain't possible. Here's why. It won't happen for me. The science is the science. It's mental. And once you're able to work towards either chipping away at that wall or climbing that wall, it won't be mental anymore. And you will start applying that in other areas. Now, I don't know people like that. I don't know your timeline, but I can tell you because I'm living it right now. It's mental. You can remove yourself from all that stuff. I'm not just on here talking to you about stuff, showing old pictures because I'm a liar. I can't show you, me just being down and out and broke because I don't have a picture about that. And I don't have the old credit score, but I can tell you, somebody that had that 375, 432 credit and just kept messing it up and didn't even picture the idea of ever purchasing a home. You can fix it. Somebody that was a known alcoholic, a functioning alcoholic. You can stop drinking. You can be sober. You can fix it. Somebody that was 300 plus pounds on cholesterol medication in my 20s. You can fix it. Somebody that was just mad at everybody that was advancing in the military but wasn't trying to do anything to advance. You dang sure can fix that. You don't have to go to college. There's a disclaimer, but I thought that I just wasn't good enough for college. I was good enough to drink myself into alcoholism, but I wasn't good enough for free college. You can fix it, but you gotta stop. You gotta stop not believing, telling yourself. You ever be around somebody that just, because of stuff that happened to them in the past, that's what they identify with? And you can't really say nothing because the way that today's climate is, I hate to be that guy, especially as I'm getting older, man. Back in my day. But sometimes I'm like, man, back in my day, because people are overly offensive. If you grew up where I grew up in the West Coast, like Compton, Long Beach, people used to bag. They used to bag on your mama. A lot of the stuff we used to say, even early on in the military, we got dark humor. A lot of the stuff that I laugh at, man, it get you fired out here. It'll get you canceled. But I think we are kind of overly sensitive. But it ain't my place to tell somebody, yeah, you overly sensitive. That's not me. Because I've been there. I explained to you the story about the door because my shirt was too small. I was overly sensitive about that situation. Who the heck am I? How much main character syndrome is going on in my life to where I think all these people at 6:30 in the morning because they hear a door slam, some people probably falling asleep or worrying about me in my tight shirt. People do that in other areas. But if you don't think you can fix it, even though that you know that there's different steps from different examples, I don't know what to tell people. Because what choice you got, right? I can't just coast. I'm not the richest. Life isn't perfect. I got stuff that I still want to do. But I can't just get up and coast and then think that everything's going to be okay. Because then I'm just buying time. And that would depress the heck out of me. So no, I make moves in my lane in areas that I think that will help me. I'll try to share it. And then I'll say, okay, well, I learned lessons from this. I'm going to apply it to this. And it just happens to be in other areas. It does, but we know what society views. We know. It's just how we're supposed to receive the message that makes things accepted. We know. Like if I'm the type of person, if I'm out at a recruiting event or if we're talking, if I haven't seen you in a while, right? I'm in San Diego, so I've seen people that I used to, be stationed with. And they'll be like, hey man, you still be going to 24-hour fitness. If they're not on social media like that, that gives me a time to be able to pull out my phone and show you my recording of my gym. And they'll be like, man, that's what's up. I don't want them looking at this video and being like, man, this is what's up, man. This is a lot you got going on here. And thinking if I was still 300 pounds, is he even using this? I bet you he ain't even using this. I don't want that. That's a personal responsibility thing. Because my health, I'm not going to lie to you. It sounds weird, but my health is the gateway. I don't want to be somebody that's talking to you about fitness and then you're doubting me by looking at me. And you're accepting it because we're accepting stuff right now and be like, yeah, man, I might try that. And you know you won't. And the reason I'm not where I want to be is because I'm bulking. That was the worst word that I ever learned for somebody that doesn't compete. Man, I'm bulking. Man, I was broken. Permanently bulking. I was bulking. That's a new term you can use. Because some people out here bulking. They don't know how to get out of it. And I'm not changing. I'm doing what I'm doing. It's right. We know what's right and wrong. I'm not changing. I don't let nobody peer pressure me. If you don't like who I am, I'll get away from you. I can pick up a vibe like very quick. I can. It took me a little longer on social media because I'll post and then I'll put the phone down. Because I was really trying to work on my social media scrolling, man. Even I'm not on there, and it's been great since I haven't been on there. And I mentioned that again. I'm sorry. But I was really working on that. So I wasn't paying attention to it. But if I got like a notification on one of them apps from somebody I knew, it made me uneasy. Because I knew that I was doing what I was supposed to do and people had a problem with it. And I'm questioning myself like, why? Because all these years I've done nothing but try to help people. Then I knew why. They were the same way that I was. They were stuck. And if you can't get unstuck, you get upset. It festers, you get mad, you become a hater, you become a troll when you don't have to be that. Because you got free game all out here. I ain't got no ebook. I ain't got no podcast outside of me doing these with my shirt off. If you email me, there's a good chance I'll email you back within a couple of days if I see it, because all my emails for whatever that goes to the Dr. B's Lifting Club email go to spam. I didn't look into spam. I had like all these companies reaching out. I could have had a new treadmill. What am I doing? So yes. Controversial. Health is a gateway. It's supposed to be right. We know what we're supposed to do. But it's a gateway. And if you can get that down and you know that you want to do other stuff, that right there it's the gold mine of all the traits that you need to do those other things. If you can get up, like you ain't got to be a morning time person, but if you can get up and work out, man, it teaches you a lot about yourself. But if you that person that can get off work after a long work day, after you took the kids to school and you done got off work and you got the kids home, then you went to go work out, man, powerful. That's like going to a second job or a third job if y'all got two. Maybe a fourth job for some of y'all out here in this economy. If you learn to tell yourself no, you'll start telling other people no. I don't want to drink that. I don't want to eat that. Why? Because it's killing me. When you tell them that, they'll listen. Because they know the truth. They know what this stuff does, but the cool kid's doing it. I'm not a cool kid. And when you say I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it no matter what, that's discipline. Discipline to me, that discipline, man, we see the recycled success memes and stuff like that. Discipline is a nag. It's an inner voice like, man, what you doing? Makes you feel messed up when you don't do it. And when you have that, you know better. You know you shouldn't eat this. You know you shouldn't have ate it. And it'll haunt you. You can eat something, you didn't get locked into your diet, and you can eat something, and then you didn't got back on track. 2 weeks down the line, you still, 2 weeks ago, man, I should have ate that. I'm doing that with the holidays, yo. 2025, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if you remember, that's when like Christmas and New Year's. Those Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So what I did was if like New Year's or Christmas was on Thursday, I would just kind of float into Friday and I would still have my refeed higher carb day on Saturday. That's 3 days. That threw everything off. I'm still mad about that. But that was my discipline. Like, bro, you knew better. Now you sitting here mad about stuff you did to yourself. You couldn't even hear me when you was doing them 3 days of like eating like you were. You couldn't hear me because that's discipline. And you got to make sure you keep listening to that voice unless your discipline is like a sociopath and it's telling you to be out here stealing people's identity or other weird stuff. Then that means this ain't the video for you. I'll end it here. I had to ask myself, right? Why was I getting mad when I was where I didn't want to be? Why am I mad at this person for doing the stuff that they've worked hard for and then they're willing to share? Why? Why am I mad? It's because it was mental. And I wasn't ready to change. And that's there, man. A lot of people just aren't ready to change because mentally, they're not there yet. I think everybody can get there. I'm naive enough to believe that. But you got to want it. You got to want it. And you know you want it if you are willing to look at somebody doing it and you feel some type of way. Right? You feel envy, you feel jealousy, you feel the need to say something. When you should be feeling like, man, you know what? It's possible. There's a reason that I am an open book to show some people that it's possible to change because I thought I couldn't. Man, I'm telling you, when I was going to Afghanistan, it was hot during that time. I was in the combats. I'm not talking hot like heat. I'm talking pyum pyum. And I'm like, man, I'm going out here. I might not come home. How am I going to drink? I had to change, man. Because it was either death or death, right? How am I going to drink out here, which was killing me, or I'm in a combat zone, which can kill me? Like, what am I doing, yo? Health is a gateway. I hope I took you there.